for joining us for this webinar. We have almost close to 283 participants in this webinar.
Yes.
And it includes students, staff, faculty, and the alumni also here.
Giving me this opportunity. It's a pleasure to be speaking to all of you. I'm sitting here in Tokyo. Well, because of Corona, we are anyway very used to Zoom meetings these days. So it doesn't feel like I'm sitting away from you. And it's nice to be talking to all of you. I would like to talk about the opportunities in Japan, both the job opportunities as well as higher education opportunities. Uh, First of all, I will just like to give a little background about myself. I came to Japan in 1996, first time in the field of artificial intelligence. It was a Japanese venture in the field of AI. Uh, and we were working on autonomous driving and some cutting edge AI technologies of that time. Uh, the company had big plans for expansion, but unfortunately, Japan didn't have enough human resource in the field of AI, uh, uh, and that's why a new company was started in Israel, in Tel Aviv, with the help of the head of the artificial intelligence department of Tel Aviv University, Hebrew University. Uh, and that company is now called Mobileye, which is now about $20 billion company, one of the world's largest company in autonomous driving. This highlights an opportunity missed by India and Japan. If Japan and India had a good connection at that time, Japan could have had people from India, and that company could be a Indo-Japan venture of $20 billion, and we could be leading the world in the autonomous driving. Uh, the number of Indian people in Japan remains to be very small. Uh, it's about 50,000 people now. If you compare it to US has got more than 3 million people. Even Singapore has got about 200,000 people or so. So Japan has a very small Indian community still. Number of Indian students in Japan are also very, very small. On the other hand, if you see the opportunity and the potential, uh, well, first of all, these days Japan has been very successful in managing the Corona situation. That's because of the Japanese culture and Japanese practices of discipline and good hygiene, but which is just a part of Japanese society's lots of virtues. Like it's a very safe and clean country. The crime is almost zero practically. Uh, Roads and everywhere is very very clean. It's a very clean country as well. Uh, so it's a great country to live and work in. Uh, and Japan is also very very cash rich country with very strong economic potential. Uh, just to since I've been working in the investment banking and investments area, let me give some numbers from the investment perspective. Japan International Cooperation Agency called JICA alone has funded more than 50 60 billion dollars in India in last many decades. There is another Japanese government bank called Japan Bank of International Cooperation, JBIC. They have got more than $100 billion asset under management.
Sanjeev, you've got...
Sorry, can you hear
Go
me
ahead,
now?
Sanjeev.
Yes.
Go ahead, yeah.
Yes. Uh, there is Japanese Postal Bank, which has got $1.5 trillion in assets under management. Japan Postal Insurance with $1 trillion, and many such very cash rich uh, corporations in Japan. And they are very keen on India because India is a very important country for Japan from a strategic perspective, because we have a common concern with China. Japan is concerned with China because China has often taken a very anti-Japanese stand. Uh, since the war history and many other issues that Japan and China have been uh, antagonized with each other. Uh, Japan-India relations have been very good, as you know. Uh, During our independence movement, Japan helped India uh, in our independence. Japan has helped India, as I mentioned, with the financing from Japan India, Japan International Cooperation Agency. Japan has helped develop lots of infrastructure in India. Like if you know, near Mumbai, a new bridge is being constructed, 17 kilometers long bridge with a few $1 billion of financing from Japan over the sea. Delhi Mumbai dedicated flat corridor is being supported by Japan with again a few $1 billion of financing. Uh, Japan has done a lot of financing in the rural sector in India, in the healthcare, in primary education. One of the IITs, new IITs, IIT Hyderabad, has been funded by Japan. So Japan has a lot of finances, lots of cash, and very good technology also. Like Japanese bullet train. Japan is the leading country in the world in the high-speed rails, with more than 50 years of history and zero fatality in the any accidents in the bullet train in the history of 50 years. So very safe and very reliable technology. So Japanese technology and capital both can be a very big boon for India. But the challenge is that there are very few Indians in Japan and very few Japanese in India, and that's why we are not able to materialize this potential between India and Japan. So when I came to Japan in 1996, there were only 5,000 Indians. Now it's about 10 times, 50,000 Indians, but still a very small number. Number of students in Japan when I came to Japan was really in the tens, less than 100. Now the number has gone beyond 1,000. It's still a very small number compared to number of Indian students in the US, which are more than 100,000, or other countries like Australia or UK, who have got large number of Indian students. Japan has still a very small number of Indian students. So what I want to highlight to you all, what I want to bring all of your attention to is that there is a huge potential, but there are very few people who can who are working on this potential so far, because there are so few Indians in Japan and so few Japanese people in India. So that itself shows the big potential and big opportunity that Indian students have in Japan. Uh, the proposal is that you come to Japan as a student or as a working professional, and you have the opportunity to be a leader in the India-Japan potential. Uh, because there are such few number of Indians in Japan, you need to be very pioneering. You can be a pioneer for materializing lots of this potential between India and Japan. Uh, Let me share some industry-wise and university-wise information with all of you. First, let me talk about the education side. Uh, Japan has both the private and public universities, just like we have in India. Japan's top few universities are Tokyo University. Tokyo University is considered the top in Japan. It's a public university. The education fees, the tuition fees is quite small because it's a government-funded university. Uh, they have got programs in English language, undergraduate programs as well as masters and PhD programs. So if you want to pursue further education, your master's degrees or PhDs in Japan, you can consider joining Tokyo University. Japanese government has many scholarship schemes also. The Ministry of Education in Japan is called Ministry of Education, Sports, Science and Technology. It's a combined ministry. In short, it's called MEXT, MEXT. So MEXT has various scholarship programs for foreign students in Japan. So you can avail those scholarships also for studying in universities like Tokyo University and others. After Tokyo University, The second most powerful university in Japan is a university called Keio University, Keio. Keio University is a private university, and typically it's also considered an expensive university. But again, there are scholarships available for studying in Keio. Keio has also started programs in English. They have many English language undergraduate, masters, and PhD programs, and many Indian students are studying in Keio also. Keio is a very rich university. It's a private university, about 150 years old, and Keio's alumni is very powerful in Japanese corporate world. Like Toyota's president is a Keio graduate. Fuji Xerox president of Japan is a Keio graduate. Lots of large corporates of Japan are graduates of Keio University. So the alumni network of Keio is very, very powerful in the corporate world, especially. So if you can join Keio University, you can get a very good credentials in Japan as well as a very good alumni network. Keio's alumni network is very active, more than Tokyo University, and the alumni supports the students very, very well even after graduation. So if you graduate from Keio, you can very easily get good job opportunities. You can very easily get good seniors in the corporate world who can mentor you or help you with your promotions and your growth, career growth. Another university similar to Keio is university called Waseda. WASEDA, Waseda University. Waseda is also a private university, but it's a much larger university than Keio in terms of number of students. Waseda University also has got English programs, both undergraduate, masters, and PhD. Waseda University, I like Waseda University particularly because it's quite down to earth type of university. It's not that expensive as Keio. That's why the student fraternity is more diverse. From Japan also, there are students from lower middle class or upper class, and it's a larger university, so you get a very diverse range of experience in Waseda University. One of the former prime ministers of Japan is from Waseda University, Prime Minister Mori, who is particularly known for a very big contribution in India-Japan relations. Waseda University has got a long history as well. So besides Keio, Waseda, and Tokyo University, three top universities, there are many other universities, like a university called Kyushu University, which is again a public university. It's in the southwest of Japan, in an island called Kyushu, and a city called Fukuoka. It's also a very old university and a very respected university. Then, of course, as I was introduced as an advisor to Kyoto University, Kyoto University is also a public university, so not that expensive, and one of the top universities, not just in Japan, but in the world also. Kyoto University is known for many Nobel Prize winners coming out of Kyoto University. A few years back, Professor Yamanaka won the Nobel Prize for the stem cell research, IPS research from Kyoto University. So Kyoto University is also a very respected university and particularly known for medical sciences and pure sciences like physics, chemistry, mathematics, and other areas. Kyoto University also has got a collaboration with India, with IIMs for management education. They have got many other international collaborations also with American universities and European universities. To name a few more universities, there are universities like Osaka University. There's a university called Tokyo University of Foreign Languages, where Japanese people study different foreign languages, and foreign students can come and study Japanese language also. Then there are universities like Sendai. There's a university in the city of Sendai called Tohoku University. It's in the northern Japan. That's also one of the public universities and known as an imperial university. Very good quality. In further north of Japan, in Hokkaido, there is a Hokkaido University. which is again a very good university in the city of Sapporo. So there are many good universities, and they're all in the world rankings. Uh, all these universities I mentioned, they would be among the top 100 universities of the world. Uh, because in India, we have very good universities, but somehow we are not very good in the international rankings because we lack the research infrastructure in India. But Japan has very good infrastructure for research. So all these universities are very good in the research publications globally, and that's why they have very good rankings in international university ranks. Besides the universities, let me touch upon the corporate opportunities. Uh, Japan is very good in the infrastructure domain. As I mentioned, the bullet train, Japan is the world leader in bullet trains. Japan has got also very good urban infrastructure, which includes the metros, subways and metros, and like utilities like water, power, gas, and others. So very good infrastructure in all these domains. Uh, Very safe, very reliable, very high quality. Japan is definitely the world leader in urban infrastructure. Tokyo alone, the greater Tokyo area has a population of around 40 million people, which is the world's largest urban cluster. And such a huge cluster of 40 million people you can traverse within 1 hour because of very good transport infrastructure. So this makes Japan the world leader in urban infrastructure. So if you are interested in the urban infrastructure, which is also a very hot area in India, because we are planning more than 100 new smart cities, our rural population is moving to urban cities. Lots of tier 2, tier 3 cities are growing very fast in India. So there is a very big need for urban planners in India, and Japan has very good expertise in this domain. So there are companies like UR, which is a short form of Urban Renaissance, which is one of the Japan's leading companies in urban infrastructure. Then Japanese railway companies, they are known to develop not just railways, but they also develop cities around the railway stations. So like Japan Railway, which used to be the national company of Japan, but now it's a privatized company. They are in charge for the bullet train project in India, Ahmedabad Mumbai bullet train project. So they are also hiring Indian people these days because they need Indian human resource for their project in India. And they are also working on other international projects like in Taiwan or Indonesia, and even in US, Texas to Houston, a new high-speed rail bullet train is being developed by Japan in America also. In UK also, in London, the high-speed rail in UK has been also developed by Japan. So companies like Japan Railways, then in infrastructure domain, the other companies like Hitachi, companies like Mitsubishi Corporation, Mitsui, their trading houses, they are very active in infrastructure development. So if you're interested in that domain, there are many companies of world stature in Japan where you may consider joining. Uh, Another big area where Japan is very good is manufacturing. Within manufacturing, there are many different domains. Let's talk about automobile. Japan is very well known for automobile industry. Of course, Toyota is the world's largest uh, uh, automobile, the passenger vehicle manufacturer. Toyota is of course Japanese. Then there is Suzuki Motors. In India, Suzuki has the largest share. It's of course a Japanese company. Then there is Honda. Then there is Matsuda, Daihatsu, Nissan, of course. Nissan is a big international company. In automobile, in the passenger cars, these companies, as I mentioned, but besides passenger cars, there are companies in the trucks, for example. Japan has world-class truck manufacturers like Isuzu or Hino Motors, Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi makes passenger vehicles as well as trucks and other large vehicles. So Japan has lots of big companies in the automobile industry which are world leaders. So you may consider joining them. and all these companies are expanding in India also. So they are keen to get Indian human resource, Indian talent in Japan, and utilize that human resource for their expansions in India and in other countries. So you have not just Japanese opportunities, but global opportunities with Japanese automobile manufacturers. Then there is a large industry in Japan in the field of electronics. Large companies like Toshiba, again Hitachi is also big in electronics as well. Then Panasonic. Then there are some very niche companies of Japan like Renesas. It's a Japanese chip design and semiconductors company. They are world leaders in that domain. Then companies like Sharp, uh, Sony, of course, world-known brand in electronics. So there are lots of Japanese companies in electronics domain also that you may consider for your career. Another big industry in Japan is IT. Japan is the world's second largest IT market after US. Japanese IT industry used to be very domestic, but nowadays they are becoming very global as well, and they are hiring Indian professionals also very much. Japan's largest IT company is a company called Entity Data, uh, which is into all domains of IT. It's Japan's largest IT company, and they've got many subsidiaries in the group. Uh, so you can work in the field of artificial intelligence or uh, system integration or IT for say urban planning or IT for transport, IT for services, all those kind of IT divisions are there within Entity Data. It's a large group of companies. Entity Group is known in India for the Docomo venture with Tata. So Docomo is Japan's largest telecom company, which is also Entity Group. In the telecom area, there are other companies, SoftBank, which is nowadays well known in India because of their big investments in India, like Flipkart Flipkart and Snapdeal both have been heavily invested by SoftBank. Oyo Rooms have been invested by SoftBank as well. Ola is also invested by SoftBank. So lots of SoftBank investments in India are very visible. So you might know the name of SoftBank. SoftBank started to become big in the field of telecom. SoftBank is a big telecom company in Japan as well. And SoftBank is hiring lots of Indian professionals also these days in all these different domains, investments, telecom, IT. They're also working on the fields like AI or cybersecurity, services, tourism industry, for example. There's another famous company in Japan which is quite active in India is a company called Rakuten, which is also into telecom, into tourism, into securities business also, financial securities, investment banking. Japanese investment banks also are looking to become very global, and they have also been hiring Indian professionals. As I was introduced, I used to work with Mizuho, which is one of the large Japanese financial conglomerate. Then Mitsubishi Group has got a large financial group within the Mitsubishi umbrella called Mitsubishi UFJ. They have got investment bank, retail bank, corporate bank, and many other divisions within the financial world. Then there is a large financial conglomerate of Japan called SMBC, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation. They have made big investments in India also, and they are again of a very large size of world-class stature. So lots of financial institutions of Japan are also keen on Indian human resource, and they are also hiring. Besides that, there is other areas like pharmaceuticals and healthcare. Japanese pharma companies have been investing in India, like Daiichi Sankyo had bought over Ranbaxy for about $3 billion earlier. Daiichi Sankyo is a Japanese company. So they have interests in India. Other Japanese pharma companies like Eisai, they have got presence in India. They are looking for more acquisitions and Indian human resource. Japanese pharmaceutical companies like Takeda. Takeda is Japan's largest pharma company. Again, with a presence in India and looking for Indian human resource. Uh, so, pharma and healthcare is another area where you may find good opportunities in Japan, and Indian professionals are very much welcome. What other areas uh, may I be missing now? Uh, so we talked about infrastructure, we talked about manufacturing, starting from electronics and pharmaceuticals, automobile, then IT industry, service industry, finance industry, uh, the tourism industry in Japan is also expanding and becoming global. There is again quite a few Indian professionals in Japan, and there are good opportunities in the Japanese tourism industry for Indian professionals also. Then there is industry like cosmetics. Japan's largest cosmetics company is Shiseido. They are also keen on India. Then other cosmetics company of Japan like Kanebo and Kose. Japan has a global reputation for high quality cosmetics. Medical equipment industry is big in Japan, particularly in the situation of Corona. We are getting lots of requests from across the world for Japanese medical equipments. Some of the names I mentioned earlier, like Hitachi and Toshiba and Panasonic, they also make medical equipments. They're all big conglomerates. And they are specialized medical equipment companies like Terumo, which make the world's best heart surgery equipment, for example. They are a world-class company in medical equipment, and very large companies in that domain also. Uh, then construction industry in Japan is very big as well. Shimizu, Takenaka, Taisei, some large Japanese construction companies, which are also very active in India. And that's the reason they are also looking for Indian human resource. So you name it, it's of course a large economy, still the third largest in the world, despite being much smaller than China in population. Japan is about 10th in the population size in the world and is the third largest economy. So the per capita income in Japan is very high. That's why the living standards in Japan are very high. It's a rich society. Uh, Probably the world's largest number of millionaires are in Japan, because a millionaire in Japan is almost close to middle class by Japanese standards. That's why Japan has a very high number of millionaires. One virtue of Japanese society is that the disparity, income disparity, is very small. So there is not a huge difference between the rich and the poor. Uh, Practically, there is no one which is abjectly poor in Japan. Everyone has got the basic necessities of life covered, like food, shelter, healthcare. Health insurance and healthcare in Japan is very inexpensive, and because health insurance is very well spread in Japan, almost everyone can afford good quality healthcare in Japan. Japan is known for very ethical and low cost healthcare. I've myself experienced in some situations where I was very well attended by Japanese healthcare professionals without worrying about my financial capacity at all. So that also adds to a virtue why Japan is a good destination. Uh, in India, Japan is not very well known, and that's why not many Indians have come to Japan so far. It's a chicken and egg problem, because not many Indians have come to Japan, and that's why Japan is not very well known in India, and that's why people are not coming. But for Americans and Europeans, Japan is a very favorite country. Lots of Americans and European people like to come and study in Japan or work in Japan, because they know the quality standards of Japan are very high. It's a very good quality life. So these are the kind of opportunities you have in Japan, both in education as well as in the professional life. Uh, Knowing Japanese language is a very big help. If you know the language, then of course the opportunities are much wider. But even without knowing the language, also there are lots of opportunities in working in Japan in English language. I know many Indian friends who have been here for more than 10 years, 20 years, but they still work in multinationals or even in Japanese companies in English language only. So language is not a huge barrier, but yes, knowing Japanese language is a big plus. So if you want to enhance your opportunities to come to Japan, you can learn Japanese language, and that will give you a better quality of life in Japan also, of course. Makes it easier for you to make Japanese friends and enjoy the Japanese life better if you know the language. So uh, I will stop there with that overview about the career and education opportunities in Japan.